Now we have created our draft. Now we can add it inside of OpenAI. So we go back into the OpenAI platform. We click top right corner right here on dashboard. And then we click the assistant on the left side right here. And then we create a new assistant, top right corner like this. And we give it a name. We can actually click right here into playground. This makes it a bit easier. Nice. All right, I give it a name. Let's call it Suntan Chatbot. And the instructions are the ones that we just created. So I'll just copy it right here, insert the instructions. And for the model, I usually recommend 2 models. If you want the cheapest model, then use GPT-4o. This is good for tasks that doesn't require the best AI, but it's still good and it's the most cost effective. We usually, for all our clients, use GPT-4 Turbo, and I'll recommend you using that as well. It's cost effective, it's very, very good, way better than GPT-4o, and we actually feel like it's better than most of the newer models as well. So choose GPT-4 Turbo, Suntan Chatbot, and now already, if I write yes, and I click this button down here, then you have a working chatbot. You've just created a chatbot. You can see, hi there, how long have you been looking for the Solr options? So that's the first question in that sequence. Awesome. Let's go back into the platform right here. I click test agent, and this picks up a dashboard where we click create a test. So now we want to test the AI that we just created. We use the OpenAI assistant. You can also use the chat completion, but it's not that good at all. So yeah, use the assistant. We click the OpenAI assistant and it loads our API key, and then we can import the chatbot that we just created like this. And it will automatically import the model, the temperature, the top P, the prompt, everything. We just click next. Like that. Next up is that we create a model. I usually recommend GPT-4o, and basically what will happen now is that we'll get one AI to test our AI. So AI is testing AI, which means that we can run through a bunch of conversations and find out where our AI struggles, so we can fix that. Let's start with the fixed initial message. This is what you would send out. Either if the AI is doing the outreach, then that would be the message. Let me actually show you an example, 2 seconds. For example, this message right here. This is the first SMS that we send out in an SMS campaign. And this message is basically what I would copy right here, and I would insert inside of the fixed initial message to the user. So this is basically, we would usually send out, hey, are you still looking at Solr options, for example, or some other first message. You would insert this here. And this is important because the AI that's testing our AI needs to know, okay, what kind of customer do I need to act as? And what does the user want help with? We just write user wants help looking at options for solar energy, for example. And then we have some options right here. I just start with deleting all the questions just to show you how to create them. Give me 1 second doing that. You can see I usually have a bunch of questions that I run through my AI. And the reason for that is that the more questions you have, the easier it is to find out where your AI struggles. And that is also why I created this software, because I needed to know that my AIs respond the right way every single time. Awesome. I click generate questions right here with AI. You can also click find inspiration right here. This is going to open a docs with a bunch of questions that I've put together that we are usually testing for. So you can use those as well if you want to test your AIs with that. Click generate questions with AI, and here you can copy these settings. This is usually what I go for. 5 questions for the industry. In this example, the AI would analyze our prompt and think, okay, I need to make questions about solar. Generate 3 questions from angry customers, 1 from prompt hacking. Prompt hacking is if someone is trying to get some information out of the prompt or make the AI say something it's not supposed to, then we are also working against that by finding, okay, where does our AI struggle? And 1 question for compliance. And then we can add 3 questions that are just like industry specific if we wanted to add something specific. 1 question on tree shading, for example. That's a problem in solar, shading coming from trees covering the roof. 1 question on grid limits, and 1 question on it's too expensive. So you can basically add inside of the custom categories right here anything that's industry specific. And when you start to gain some experience in the industry that you are choosing, the niche, then you can start adding a bunch of questions right here and test your AI for those. But let's start with this. I click generate and it's gonna go through those questions, look at my prompt, and it's gonna act like the user and generate questions as that. And it's pretty cool. Let's see how it looks. That took about 20 seconds or so. So you can see the solar panels work when it's cloudy. It's very necessary that our solar AI knows that question. Then I can click the plus right here and add it to our test. And I can go through all these things. Now I'm just going to add them all to show you. But maybe there's sometimes, are there any government incentives for solar? Maybe we say, okay, we don't want to answer that. Then we just click the red cross. It's good to have angry customers. There will be some of those. And then let's add the compliance question, the prompt tagging question, and our custom questions as well. Awesome. And then we click save questions. And then we have them in here. You can see we have all the questions that we just added. They've been added to the custom, compliance, and prompt tagging sections. And I can choose, okay, I can still delete them if I want to. I can also copy them and change a bit inside of them down here. But for now, let's just keep the ones that we have. And you can see how it works right here. So we have a question. This is the question that we are testing for. This is, do solar panels work when it's cloudy, for example? And then we have a success criteria, which is how we want the AI to respond. The AI should explain that solar panels can still generate electricity on cloudy days, though at reduced efficiency, and mention advancement in solar technology that improve performance in low light conditions. I might think, okay, I wanted to say that it still generates electricity while it's cloudy. I don't need it to say this, that solar advancement is being made in technology. So I can then go through these questions and I can tune it to what I want my AI to say. For example, I just want to say that it still generates electricity, just not as much. And I just click save. And I could go through and do this for every single question. For example, I don't want the AI to discuss warranty options. I only want to say it typically lasts 25 to 30 years. So I just delete the second part. And I can go through all of these questions and fix the things that I wanted to say. And then we can run the test. For each question, we also have these values right here, which one is called AI variations and one is called when to ask. Let's start with the AI variations value. This value right here is how many variations do we want to add to our current question. So this question right here will always be asked, but AI variations right here will take this question, generate variations of the same question. For example, if do solar panels work when it's cloudy, a variation of this could be it's cloudy outside, will solar panels still work? It's the same question, but it's a variation of it. And that is also very important to test for with AI. And that's usually the problem when you sit there and test it yourself, because you're not going to write 3 variations of the same question. You're just going to test with one question, maybe see, okay, it gave a good response. But sometimes the variations actually makes it fuck up. So it's very important that we test for variations too. And I usually recommend around 3 variations per question. And if it's a very important question in your industry, then you can bump it up to 5, maybe even 10, if you want to be 100% sure that it doesn't fuck up. And then we have the when to ask value. And this value is when to ask it in the conversation. So should we do it as the first question, the second question, etc., etc. And when we are done doing that, we have a template right here where you can create a new template. I just call this solar AI for suntan, or solar test template for suntan. And I maybe just give it a 1. So remember, this is the first version. And then I click save template. This means that when we have run this test, we can come back and run it again, just using the template. And then bottom right corner, we click run and we click confirm and run. And now the one AI is going to ask all of these questions to our AI that we have created. And we're going to find out where it struggles. And you can see I've done a bunch of tests. And I use this every single day. Awesome. We can see the results from the first test right here that we ran, and you can see it's at 46%, and it's totally normal to start with a lower score. The thing is that now we also didn't go through all the questions and tuned them to what we actually wanted it to say, but that's what I usually recommend. I usually recommend to go through, fix all of the questions, the nitty-bitties, making sure that the success criteria is what I actually want to be a success criteria. And then of course we're also gonna get a higher score. But let's click see results right here, and let's see how our AI responded. It will load this report, and we have also seen very, very good results when we have a higher score than 46%, maybe 90, 95, maybe even 100. Then showing this to our clients, saying maybe they have a worry about, okay, what if my AI says this? Then I can show, well, I've just tested your AI with 50 different variations of this, and it responds the right way. So you can see right here, the solar panels work when it's cloudy. We have the AI response right here, which is solar panels can still work on cloudy days, but they may produce less electricity compared to sunny days. So it says exactly what we wanted to say. And then also you can follow the entire conversation right here. Awesome. And you can follow all of these questions, and you can see the entire conversation that we ran. And then the interesting part is, where did it fuck up? Do I need a big roof for solar panels? Our AI responded, you don't necessarily need a big roof to benefit from solar panels. Even smaller roofs can be fitted with high efficiency panels that optimize sunlight. But our success criteria was that the AI should explain that with more space that it can accommodate more panels. We didn't do that, and then it's seen as a fault. What we can do though, I think it's still a decent response, is that we can click this arrow right here, and I can click mark as success. And when I do this, you can see it checked from a cross to a check mark, and it also updates the final percentage. So we can go through all of these questions right here. There will be some errors, there will be some good ones, and then there'll also be some warnings, which is where the AI kind of says what it's supposed to, but there's something that is against best practices, or it doesn't follow the success criteria 100%. Let's look at this example. Hi there. Yes, shading from trees can affect the efficiency of solar panels because they block sunlight that could be converted into energy. Trimming or managing the tree branches can help minimize this effect. Is there anything else you need help with regarding solar panels? And the warning is here because it says the response addresses the impact of shading on solar panels efficiency and suggests trimming the trees, but does not mention microinverters as a solution, which was a part of our success criteria. So this way we can design questions, success criteria, test them all at once, and create a template that we can test with and get a report. And I'll show you how we can then fix these errors and how it's very easy, and we can get AI to do this for us as well. One thing you should also notice is that how it says hi there every single time. And this might be a good thing. Sometimes that's what you wanted to say, maybe. I don't think it's that good and that conversational. So that we will also fix in the next video. Awesome. Let's get to improving and using this test to actually improving our AI.